Scusa.
Our cities are feral. There it is, I said it. The West and its cities are becoming a place where nobody wants to live. For the last 7 to 9 months I've spent in my life in London, and the city is now beyond any kind of redemption. You might find smarmy people on the website The Londoner exclaiming it's the best place in the world to live, seriously saying that London has a better train system than Tokyo, and they say this by far. But on the ground, nothing could be further from the truth. In an article written yesterday in the Con Inc., the Daily Mail, well, it summarizes the state of the city well. And what it says is that London has gone to hell. Street crime's completely out of control. 70,000 phones snatched last year, so good luck strolling anywhere in public. Sexual crime is reported every hour. Homeless camps, even on Billionaires Row next to Hyde Park, which I myself saw just recently, are visual reminders of the deep descent of the city. It's absolutely no longer a British city, as the identity of which has been erased by the rapid, unrelenting demographic shifts and unchecked migration flowing into the city. London's not just struggling, it's unrecognizable, teetering on the edge of collapse, and it about sums up my own observations of the city that I've spent quite a bit of time in over the last 7 or so years. But also it's indicative of the entire Western world. Our cities are dying. And many of us pretend it doesn't matter. In the UK, people brag about they'll just move to some small village. And in the US, well, I'll just live on some acreage with guns. Though no matter what affront, those guns are never used for fear of government reprisals for self-defense. Either way, our cities and thus our economic lifeblood is in real trouble. There are ways to fix our predicament, but the hour is late. And while I can already anticipate the comments talking about how this doesn't matter to me as I live on a 1,000,000-acre plot of land with a bunker, well, yes, it does, as the transformations taking place there will not be alleviated by some kind of mental artificial border once things become worse. But even if our cities are going feral, you can defy decline. Ever heard of spermidine? Well, it's a natural compound that supercharges autophagy, which is your body's cellular cleanup process, boosting cell regeneration and slowing down the aging process. Dr. Stephen, a renowned heart surgeon and longevity expert, backs its power.
Fasting, if you've read my books, is a phenomenal way of creating autophagy. But spermidine will do this without fasting. Spermidine inhibits mTOR. This activates the AMPK pathway and actually starts up autophagy. Spermidine has great anti-aging properties. So autophagy's role, it reduces apoptosis, cell death. It's crucial for regulating lifespan. A 2018 study showed that there was lower cardiovascular and cancer-related deaths, and the mortality rates were dramatically statistically lower in the study group that had more spermidine in their diet.
Your body does make some spermidine, and foods like wheat, germ, and natto have it, but not enough for a real impact. And that's where Black Forest Supplements comes in with their high-purity spermidine complex designed to enhance autophagy and support longevity. Forget Hollywood's pricey fasting retreats. Spermidine delivers those anti-aging benefits without starvation. Take it daily and brain fog's gone, energy's up, and workout recovery's unreal. It's a simple way to stay sharp and strong, fueling your body from the inside out. Take control of your health with spermidine. No extreme biohacks needed. So then, here's the deal. I worked out an exclusive offer with the guys at Black Forest Supplements to hook you up. Buy 2, get 1 free for the next 48 hours. But this stuff does sell out quickly, so don't wait. Hit the link in the description or the pinned comment to stock up before it's gone. Edward Glaser, in his book, The Triumph of the City, well, he believes that cities are humanity's greatest invention, as they're packed with people close enough to spark innovation, share knowledge, and drive progress. From bustling markets to vibrant art scenes, they're where creativity and opportunity meet, making life richer and more efficient. As well, that the density makes things efficient, less waste on infrastructure, more bang for your buck if you'd like. but it also breeds problems like crime, poverty, and gridlock. However, I would posit that these are problems of the past. And what we're looking at currently in 2025 is nothing short of the same set of situations that set the stage for the collapse of the Roman Empire. And if you will, transpose that collapse on the feral nature of our own cities in 2025, well, things start to look a lot clearer. This is and will never come back. I recently made a video on the migrant riots in Los Angeles and the total loss of federal control, as well as the encouragement for that same destruction at the local and state levels. The city itself is a migrant powder keg. Last time I was in LAX myself, that is, which was at least about 10 years ago, I thought I landed in a mix of Mogadishu, San Salvador, and Islamabad. Of course, you're going to find those who are living on the fat, people that are basically living in a similar city to something like Jakarta of economic inequality. And they'll say, well, the ICE raids, they were sparking riots and the protesters torching cars and blocking freeways, waving foreign flags and clashing with police and National Guard because they were unrepresented. The downtown of Los Angeles itself is a graffiti-smeared war zone with looted shops, shattered windows, and with Molotov cocktails thrown at those specifically sent to provide protection to citizens and property, the police. And let's be clear, the city, like so many others in the United States, is showing signs of unraveling, fueled by rage, entitlement, and chaos. It's a feral mess. And Los Angeles isn't protesting. Los Angeles is clawing itself apart. Obviously, we don't even need to discuss such cities as Baltimore, New Orleans, St. Louis, Detroit, and many others. They have totally become zones of lawlessness and are, for the most part, unlivable unless you're behind the protection of a gated community. But looking at New York City, well, the largest city on the East Coast, well, it does mirror quite clearly and similarly the same feral nature of the West Coast and its largest city, Los Angeles. New York City is yet again like a yo-yo spiraling into chaos. Its anti-ICE protests erupt, same as in Los Angeles, causing massive crowds to clash with police in Manhattan, hurling bottles and profanities as they too believe that they have every single right to live and have the benefits of an American citizen because they're there for whatever reason. Graffiti that screams "kill a cop," well, it's scrawled on streets throughout the city, while subway attacks such as a woman recently burned alive expose a city that is unquestionably unraveling. Felonies have been downgraded, prosecutions have dropped despite a spike in crime, and the rise of its new socialist mayor, well, it has businesses fleeing and realtors panicking. From filthy subways to violent crimes, New York is not just gritty and full of hustle and bustle, it's gone feral, a shadow of its former self. Interestingly enough, there has been much online protesting from conservative Inc. personalities like Matt Walsh and Charlie Kirk, and they are horrified that the city could now be electing its new Islamic mayor given the nature of the 9/11 attacks 24 years ago. Funnily and rightly, however, Nick Fuentes has asked the very reasonable question that if a Muslim should not be mayor of New York City, then why should Jews? And I'm pretty sure we'll never hear an answer from the likes of Walsh, Kirk, or Shapiro and other gatekeepers, as their values and principles are based on business models. And thus, they are promoted by big tech and consumed by the ill-informed as containment personalities. Moving across the Atlantic.
Non mi devi spingere! Che vuoi? Perché mi devi spingere? Se non avevi questa divisa.
Scusa.
Figlio, due palle video, fam.
All of the great cities of the old world are in the same peril. But let us focus on the cities of the United Kingdom, not only for the reason that it ties up this video, but because I myself do have personal connections to that island, as my mother was from England, Northern England, in fact, and I do still have much family in that part of the world. In a stark warning, military expert Hamish de Bretton Gordon, a former British Army colonel, well, he's cautioned that British cities could descend into feral states and potentially face civil war due to rising social unrest and gang activity. Speaking to the Mirror, he highlighted how organized crime, particularly drug gangs, are filling a void left by diminished community structures like churches and youth clubs, which once provided moral guidance and opportunity for young people. But what is starkly missing from the article and what is not mentioned is the grooming of English children, as this topic is not taboo, but the grisly nature of the inter-community predation makes most of the mainstream media outlets shy to address what is really going on, nor how the changing demographics of the country are fueling many of these issues. De Bretton Gordon cites recent riots across UK cities sparked by the so-called tragic deaths. Notice the word death than what really actually happened to the 3 girls in Southport. Well, he does this as evidence of underlying tension, saying that these tensions are exacerbated by, quote, misinformation, closed quote, by those who are exploiting these events to fuel division. Yes, another gatekeeper looking toward future employment prospects, I would probably say. He warns that without intervention, cities like London, Birmingham, and Manchester could see gang-controlled areas, drawing parallels to conflict zones he's witnessed, such as Syria, where power vacuums led to chaos. De Bretton Gordon also notes that the risk of disenfranchised youth being radicalized either by gangs or extremist groups, not saying which extremist groups, of course, well, it could escalate into broader societal conflict. He urges immediate action to restore so-called community cohesion, which obviously no longer exists, and to prevent a slide toward lawlessness, which under the current dystopian and delusional government based on a utopian and unworkable principle, well, that'll never happen. So it does paint, De Bretton does paint at the end of the article, a grim picture of a potential Wild West scenario in Britain's urban areas if these issues are left unchecked. Of course, the article and De Bretton Gordon says nothing about the industrial scale of migrant enrichment of girls up and down the country in Britain's urban areas in what is euphemistically called grooming gangs. But what must be understood is this set of events and their outcome is not a mistake. It's not about incompetence or misjudgment. It is deliberate. And once you understand that, then things start to make sense. This is the fate of empires that refuse to wake up. And yes, the Western world is an empire, obviously made up of component parts. And whether we'd like to admit it or not, we are all in the same boat. And we have been the stewards of our own destruction for far too long. Are the cities savable? This is a debatable question, but you can protect yourself and your family. Yes, absolutely. However, it might come at the cost of relocating to a community of like-minded people and away from the feral cities of the West. But presently, we are those that are grinning ourselves to death as a civilization. But there is at a point no backpedaling down a broken track. But it's all right, Jack. It's an easy track to fix if we have the will. So what do you think? Have the cities of the Western world, have they become feral? Do you live in one? Well, give me your take in the comment section below. Obviously, the like, subscribe button, all of that jazz. Also remember to check out today's sponsor for the health benefits they provide, Black Forest Supplements. Link, of course, is in the description as well as the pinned comment. With that, I will see you again in the next video. Bye for now.